Okay, today I'll be taking a look at the Toolzone electrical crimper and terminal set.
Okay, the Toolzone electrical 101 piece crimper and terminal set. Okay, one of the good things about this is that you do actually get a lot of assorted terminals with it, so you can just get on with what you need to do and you don't have to worry about purchasing any of the basic terminals that you might use. The most common one obviously being this spade female and male type here. Obviously it comes in one of these slide out style cardboard insert packs. You can see there you've got the various terminals that you do get, the various sizes. Now onto the actual crimpers themselves. I wasn't entirely impressed with these, but they are okay. They're okay for getting a job done, which is what I kind of bought them for. I did have some of these with some red handle. I think again it must have been a tool that I lent out to somebody and I forgot about and never got it back. The wire cutter is very sharp. It does actually cut quite well. The wire stripper on the various diameters which are labelled there is okay. You know, the odd one might be a little bit iffy. When you crimp down, it might not make enough contact on the cable to strip, so you might have to use another means. But a few of them were okay. They did the job. Like I say, you just got to be careful as well with some of the smaller diameter cables, because you know, it might not be that aligned and you might actually end up cutting straight through. The only one problem with these is the actual crimping part at the top, where they're actually again the diameter is and the size is actually printed onto the crimpers themselves. And you've got the colour coding there, which obviously is supposed to relate to the colour coding of your sheath on your connectors. You see the red, the blue and the yellow, etc. Obviously visually you can see that's a smaller diameter, and that's a medium sized diameter, and that's a larger diameter. On there on the crimp, obviously you get your cable in your connector, and you would obviously the metallic part as well. If you can actually see in there the end of your connector. I'll take it. There'll be a lot of people that have used these kind of things before and know exactly what I'm on about, but there'll be people that don't. I can be sure of that. What that basically does is curls over, and that is the one here that's we can kind of show. It's a used one. You can see how it curls over when it's crushed or crimped, and that clamps onto the wire itself and forms the bond. Obviously beneath the red sheath The only trouble I found with the smaller diameter one on the small cables, that it didn't quite crimp heavily enough. It was good enough for forming, you know, getting that metal to curl properly, to form that curl, but you'd have to finish the crimp off with a pair of pliers. Once you've used this to form the curl properly on the crimper, you'd have to use a pair of regular pliers to apply enough pressure then to crimp it onto the smaller wires. So it was good enough to get it form the crimp to start with, and it's good enough to get the job done. So really, this one I'd say is a crimper that's good enough. You know, just if you've got a job to do, you get a job done. You've got, you've got some speakers or something like that, just as an example, to install in your car, and you need these kind of connectors, you know, on your wiring, etc. You've already got the connectors in the packet. This will get on and get your job done. You know, it's not one of the best ones out there. You've also got an ignition terminals crimping section there, and you've got your ISO there for crimping there along the top. Obviously, that's going to be the business end, is the regular crimping section there, and probably the wire cutters and strippers. Don't know if you can tell. So they are, you know, you've just got a basic sheath over plasticky sheath over the metal frame. It kind of does the job, you know, keeping your hands comfortable. It's not too brilliant. It's not too, you know, it's not too good. It's not bad. It does the job of keeping your hands nice and comfy. You know, it's not. It is hard. It's not rubbery, but it's not too. You don't really moan about it, to be honest. It's all right. It does the job. Other than that, it's just a wire stripper really. If you've got a job to do, to get on and do, it's good enough for that, and not really too brilliant. Nothing flashy or anything about it. Just good enough for a small job really, and that's it. Obviously, if it survives the day, which it has and it will, then you can use it if you wish to in future, and put it away to use for any future jobs. But it's by no means you know, one of the best crimpers out there. I mean, you might find one of those ratchet type ones a little bit better that you can find, but you know, it's a truthful review. It is what it is, so to speak. Toolzone is one for me that can sometimes be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes a lot of the stuff is exactly the same as the other brands that you would find, except that it's got Toolzone etched or stamped on it, and it's exactly the same product, and it's just a little bit cheaper. And sometimes some of their stuff can be a little bit like market quality stuff, which you know, can sometimes be a bit hit and miss. You know, the basic general market, cheap market branded tool stuff. So to me, it's one of them companies that you're on the fence with, but it does the job. The good thing about these, obviously, is that if you're buying something cheap like this to get a job done, you've got the included connectors that you're most likely going to use obviously if it's something way out there connector wise, then I'll take it. You'd usually know, and you'd usually have them or have ordered them in advance anyway. So but yeah, as long as you take that into account, that the smaller wires can sometimes need to be crimped out after you've used the actual 1.5 crimp. They can actually need to be finished off with you know, some heavy combination pliers or something, just to get a good finish on the crimp itself for the smaller wires. And some people do like to add a bit of solder down their connectors anyway, but I mean that's up to you. But I mean, just on the general crimping side of things, using the 1.5 on a small diameter wire, you may have to finish off the crimp afterwards with a pair of combination pliers, which, considering you're buying a crimper, you know, it's not entirely brilliant that it doesn't do the job itself, but you know, that it is what it is.